Severe weather is about to ramp up this weekend, and an even bigger storm system is becoming likely late this coming week. Right now, we are watching the southern plains where supercells could produce damaging winds, very large hail, and a couple of tornadoes, including a nocturnal, strong tornado threat in Oklahoma this evening. Then on Sunday, Mother's Day, the threat expands dramatically. An enhanced risk is now in place for central and north Texas, where a squall line with wind gusts up to 85 miles per hour, baseball-sized hail, and isolated tornadoes will sweep through during the afternoon. But what follows all of this could be even larger, because a major pattern shift is pointing toward multiple significant storm systems, arriving between May 18th and 23rd, putting the Great Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley back in the crosshairs. Let's get right into the forecast. I want to start with today, Saturday, because the risk is real and it is evolving. The Storm Prediction Center has a level 2 out of 5 slight risk across western Oklahoma and parts of north-central Texas, and not 1 but 4 marginal risk areas across the country. 1 in the Central Plains, another along the Gulf Coast, a third over parts of Maryland and New Jersey, and a fourth near Lake Erie. It is a weird, fragmented, severe weather day. The main concern for all these regions will be damaging wind gusts, between 50 and 65 miles per hour. Large to very large hail is also a risk, particularly in Oklahoma and Texas, where a few supercells could produce hail up to the size of baseballs. But what really has my attention today is the tornado potential in Oklahoma and Texas, which is going to be a nocturnal threat. Right now, the atmosphere near the surface is still too dry for tornadoes, dew points in the mid-60s but surface temperatures soaring into the 90s, creating a huge spread that keeps tornado chances low through sunset. However, as we lose daytime heating and the low-level jet cranks up this evening, the significant tornado parameter values will climb to around 4 or even 5 on the 0 to 10 scale. That is a very concerning spike for western Oklahoma and the Red River Valley. If a supercell can take advantage of that environment after dark, an EF2 or stronger tornado is possible. Specifically, if you live near Altus, Lawton, just west of Oklahoma City, or down toward Wichita Falls, Texas, you need to be on high alert from roughly 7 p.m. through midnight. I expect storms to fire around 6 p.m. near Weatherford, initially producing damaging winds and hail, then intensifying as they move east. By 9 or 10 p.m., the tornado risk will maximize, and we will likely be live on this channel if a tornado warning is issued. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now, let's look at Sunday Mother's Day because the threat level escalates significantly. The Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, for central and north Texas, including Dallas-Fort Worth, Abilene, and just north of San Antonio, near Waco. A slight risk extends to Little Rock and Shreveport, and an enormous marginal risk wraps the entire Gulf Coast all the way to Florida. This is a rare, large-scale Mother's Day severe weather event. The primary driver Sunday is not tornadoes, though they are possible. It's wind and hail. In fact, the SPC has highlighted a significant damaging wind risk, meaning gusts could exceed 85 miles per hour in the strongest parts of the squall line. I do not say this lightly. Secure trampolines, patio furniture, and anything that can become airborne. We are looking at the potential for a flying trampoline outbreak across the DFW Metroplex and points west. Large to very large hail, baseball size and even teacup size, up to 3 inches in diameter, will be possible with any supercell that forms before the storms merge into a line. There is a low-end tornado threat on Sunday, but it's not zero. The environment will be messy, with storms clustering quickly, but an isolated strong tornado could still occur if a storm can latch onto a boundary near Abilene or between Snyder and Fort Worth. I wouldn't be surprised to see the tornado probabilities raised to 5% in future outlooks. Storm mode will go upscale rapidly after 4 p.m., transitioning from discrete cells to a powerful bow echo, which will then race east-southeast through the evening, impacting areas from the Arklatex to the Gulf Coast. Here's the timing for Sunday. The first storms will fire around noon to 1 p.m. across West Texas near the dry line, mainly a damaging wind threat initially. By 4 p.m., the storms will be impacting the I-20 corridor between Snyder and Fort Worth, and by 5 to 6 p.m., they will be merging into a large, fast-moving squall line. The line will then sweep south toward Houston and San Antonio by late evening, with a continued risk of damaging winds and isolated hail, though the tornado threat will be very low that far south. Across the southeast and Dixie Alley, scattered strong to severe storms will develop during the evening and overnight hours, with damaging winds and perhaps a brief tornado mixed in. We are very likely to be lit for this event as well, so stay tuned. By Monday, the system will be pushing into the southeast, with isolated severe storms possible from Mobile, Alabama to Cape Fear, North Carolina, mainly a wind and hail threat. After that, the weather takes a genuinely weird turn for mid-May. A large ridge of high pressure will build across the southern and central plains early next week, suppressing storm systems and keeping things unusually quiet for a few days. However, that break will be short-lived. By Thursday and Friday of next week, a shortwave trough will eject over the Rockies, bringing low-end severe potential back to the northern plains and Midwest. But the real story is the long-range signal. Multiple models are now converging on a major pattern shift around May 18th through the 23rd. A series of deep troughs will crash into the West Coast and Rockies, unleashing several large storm systems into the Great Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. This is the kind of pattern that can produce multiple severe weather outbreaks, with all hazards on the table. The European model in particular is showing a tremendous buildup of storm fuel, chocolate humidity, instability, and shear across the exact same areas that saw a relative lull after the early May outbreaks. I want you to mentally prepare now. After a quiet mid-May, things are likely to get very active again. Before I go, I want to briefly touch on the Mississippi tornado from this past week because the latest data from the National Weather Service is staggering. That single violent tornado was on the ground for 70 miles, from just outside the Bootheel into Monticello, with a width up to 1.2 miles. It was one of the most impressive long-track supercells we've covered, and it's a reminder that even in a quiet pattern, one storm can change everything. So, here's your action plan. Today, if you're in Oklahoma or North Texas, have a way to get warnings after dark, a weather radio, or a phone that will wake you up with emergency alerts. Tomorrow, secure outdoor items across Central and North Texas, and have a reliable shelter identified in case a tornado warning is issued. And for everyone else, the message is simple. The break coming early next week is your window to refresh your severe weather kit and review your plans, because the back half of May is going to roar. Make sure you're subscribed and have the bell icon on. We will be live as conditions warrant today and tomorrow. Drop your city in the comments. I read them constantly and will provide localized updates if your area goes under a warning. Stay weather aware, look out for